Today is going to be a long video, but it's going to be worth it. Don't go away. Hello everyone and welcome to Fat Guy Productions. I am Paul, coming to you as always from beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada. And today is going to be a long video. We're really going to put a huge dent in the battleship, and at the end of this video it is gonna really look amazing. I promise you. So I'm not going to make it any longer than it has to be. Let's shut my big pie hole and get to work. So, at the end of episode 4, I left you as I was starting to work on Lifeboats. Now, we are back today. I'm really excited because here in episode 5, we're really going to make some headway. I mean, I am super cranked about this. This thing is going to start to look amazing. But anyhow, we're going to pick up where we left off working on the lifeboats. Now, there are a lot of lifeboats. There's off the top of my head, I think 3, 6, 9. There's about 15 plus lifeboats, not to mention the confusing little stands. And what I want to tell you about the lifeboats is, first, the stands are very, very difficult to get together right. There are, believe it or not, they look all the same from end to end, but they're not. The different ends have different shapes to them to accommodate the shape of the bottom of the lifeboat, so you're going to have to pay attention to that. Now, also, I made a mistake here. I'll tell you about it now, even though it won't happen for a while. After I got the lifeboats done and I built all the stands and glued everything together, I wanted the lifeboats, I wanted to put some lashing on there just to make it, give it some visual interest. And I forgot to do it until after they were all glued in, and so I had to do it after the fact. Don't make that mistake. Build your lifeboats, get them all painted and detailed and everything, build the stands, get them all painted and detailed, glue the boats to the stands, tie on the lashing the way you want to do it, then at the very end of the build, then glue those sub-assemblies onto the decks, and it'll go a lot easier for you, I promise. Now here's something I really, really wanted to show you, okay? Now, when I was working on the masts and I was telling you about how I wish I had done the windows before putting these sub-assemblies too far together, here's a great chance to see that in action, okay? These are the walls to the Forecastle deck, and because they have to go on separate, it's just wide open. Look how easy I can put the windows in. I just go around with my little bottle of window glue, put a little drop over every porthole, and done. Boom. I can be a little messier. I don't have to worry about it because you're not going to see it from the backside. It's going to look great. This is the way to go. So, decide early if you're going to do windows. If you are, anywhere you're going to need to put a window in, get that piece painted in advance, let it dry, get the windows in, and then do the assembly around that, and you'll be so much happier. Now, I watched a guy who was worried that a couple of them were too big. They're not, okay? This window glue will bridge that and work beautifully, so don't worry about it. You can do the windows with this glue. It may be difficult to find. You may have to get a different version of it, but trust me, this is the way to go. So if you like to learn from mistakes, I'm your guy, okay? Because I've been making mistakes left and right. I'm going to make one here. I have too much glue and stuff down in the little connection places where this Forecastle deck walls are going to have to go, and I've got pieces of the wood deck there and stuff, and I didn't do a good enough job cleaning those areas out. Don't make that mistake, okay? You needed the wood glue to put the deck down. That's fine. You're gonna get it in those slots and stuff like that, but you have to spend enough time and get that glue out of there, because I ended up having a lot of issues trying to get this deck to sit right in these walls to fit in where they go. So just slow down, clean everything out really, really well, do a lot of test fitting, and make sure everything is the way it needs to be, and you'll be so much happier. It seems like 100 years ago, really, that I started building this model, and I started with just simple sub-assemblies like the deck guns and the anti-aircraft guns, and here I am finally getting to put these in. So they're all painted up and detailed, and I found it weird that there's no back walls behind this, but you really, really, really cannot see in here. But if you're paranoid about it, you could put something in behind that. Anyhow, I'm putting all these guns in, and I'm really feeling like I'm starting to make some headway. But man, it does make it seem at this point like I've been working at this for quite a while. So it's kind of gratifying to be at a point where these are going in. I feel like I'm really moving forward. Now, you know I love the Tamiya fine cement, extra thin cement, and I do, but right here I need a little more open time, okay? So I'm using the Revell Contacta glue, and it's perfect for this. I can put some in, it stays where it's supposed to stay, it stays open longer, and then I can put the parts together and I don't have to rush, and it's just the better choice here. So, you know, like I said, you need to go into this planning that you're going to need a lot of different kinds of glues and adhesives as you go along for different circumstances. I mean, off the top of my head, I've used the Tamiya extra thin quick setting, the regular, the Contacta, the Loctite Gel Control Super Glue, and Gorilla Wood Glue. I've used 5 glues. Have I used any epoxy? I don't know if... hey, you know what? Did I use epoxy? If I did, put it in the comments down below, because I don't remember. If I didn't, it's the only glue in my arsenal I haven't used right now. So just go in knowing you're going to need different kinds of adhesives for all the different things you have to do. So I've got the deck piece here, and it's nice that it's not on the ship. It's going to make it a little trickier to put it on, okay? Make sure you've got it test fitted and stuff before you move forward. But, you know, it's just going to be so much easier to work on this deck and put all the parts on it here. So that was a good thing. And at this point, I have learned my lesson, and I've made it a point to clean out the slots for the gun walls and stuff like that. And I don't even know if that's their proper name, but anyhow, I've cleaned out all the slots, and now I can start to really build this deck up before I go ahead and glue it down onto the ship. So I didn't paint this piece the navy blue before I advanced on it, and that was a mistake. Again, like I said, if you want to learn from mistakes, I'm your guy, okay? But anyhow, I have found that it is biting me in the butt a little bit. I had to paint the edges with a brush, and I've got little detail pieces on the deck surface that I have to paint. So make sure you do paint this before you move forward. Anyhow, so I'm doing that now, taking care of all that before I move forward. you remember way back in the second version, second part of the build, the second video, you remember when I was building all those little sub-assemblies and putting them in that little divider container and stuff? This is where that's really starting to pay off, okay? I had all the parts separated, and they were easy to find, and for the most part, they were 100% ready to go. That was a really helpful thing with this build, and it's paying off in spades right now and making things so much easier for me. Now, I think it was in the last video I talked about how much paint you were going to need and how I didn't order enough navy blue. I'm going to end up for this entire build using, I think, 5 bottles, and I initially only ordered 3. So right here, by gluing a bunch of these parts down to the paint sticks, I didn't do a great job of painting all the sides. There were sides that didn't get as thoroughly coated as they needed to, so I'm having to go back and touch stuff up here. And this is where I'm really scraping the bottom of the barrel for paint here. I'm waiting for those other jars to get here, and I've added a little thinner to an old jar, and I'm really stretching it thin here, but I'm getting it done. Again, all told, I used about probably 2 jars for the hull. I would order 3. I used about 5 jars of paint for the upper structures. I would order 6. The white, 1 jar should cover it, and then your miscellaneous paints. So that's about what I think you would need to get this done. So I'm putting in some of the photo etch railing, and I'm going to tell you, this isn't as hard as some of the other photo etch parts. All right, roughly cut it to length, you know, leave a little extra, start to shape it, okay, kind of get it in shape, and then trim it down at the very end, and then just run some CA glue along the bottom of it and gently place it in. Now, I'm going to tell you, something that I'm doing, and a lot of people are going to poo-poo at this, especially a lot of the people who are really, you know, nuts for details. And I don't mean to be insulting when I say nuts. I mean it's something that you're really into, okay? That's all I mean. I don't mean you're crazy. You'll notice I'm putting the railing in and I'm not painting it. I do that a lot with photo etch stuff. I don't paint the photo etch stuff because I think it has a really great natural metallic look, and I think painting it takes away sometimes from that. So I'm not painting these railings. Now later I'm going to paint some of the railings thinking maybe I should have painted the railings, but like all the ones around the main deck, I'm not going to end up painting those. I'm going to leave those natural brass color. And that's just a personal choice because I think it gives you a little more interest. There's a lot of times I will stray from the formula just because I think it gives it a little more visual interest. And if you really think about it, if I have 100 people come to my house and look at this battleship, not one is going to go, well, you didn't paint the railings. What a dud, man. This is terrible. Okay? Seriously. The only way I'm ever going to hear any complaints about that is by putting it on a video like this and having some guy who really knows his stuff. And he's going to see this and he's going to go, well, you didn't paint the railings. I get that. But I'm not at that level of model building, okay? This is a model that is going to be something that I need to have and that I need to like, and I think it looks good this way. That's how I'm going to roll. Now, I know this is going to sound weird, but putting this deck on now is really one of the milestones of this entire build, okay? Once we get to this point, most of the ship starts to come together through the build of all of those sub-assemblies. The masts, the tower, the cannons, all of that stuff. That's where this ship really finishes up at. So this is kind of almost the beginning of the end right here, all right? And it, you know, it actually feels that way. As I'm putting this down, you know, I'm starting to feel like, hey, I can see the light at the end of the tunnel here. So I'm feeling pretty good and feeling pretty excited. On a side note, look at how amazing this wood deck kit is. I mean, seriously, in all of my model building, I've been building models my whole life. I'm 60 now, so that's, you know, 50 years of model building. In all of that time, I've never seen an add-on make such a difference in a kit ever, period, bar none. So I've told you about a couple of the issues I had with the wood deck kit, and I can't tell you enough to get it. Don't worry about all that. What a game changer. Ladders. What can I say about the ladders? These photo etch ladders. I gotta tell you, I almost think I would have been better off using the kit plastic ladders throughout this whole thing. Yes, the photo etch ones look amazing and bring so much detail, but they are so hard to work with. You know, I get the photo etch being thin. I think these should have been a little thicker and a little stronger and hold up a little bit better, because the ladders were a nightmare. I can't say that enough. These ladders are a nightmare, and I think you need to consider that before you get to this point. Decide how you're going to handle the ladders. Maybe make a couple of them. Maybe handle a few of them and see how they feel to you before committing one way or the other, because the ladders were just a pure nightmare. And at the very end, I'm still going around having to re-glue ladders in that get knocked off, or having to straighten them out or whatever. So it's really an issue, and I can't tell you enough. Think twice before you decide to or not to use the ladders. So I am at a phase here, though, where I'm putting on a lot of the photo etch stuff, a lot of little detail pieces, small sub-assemblies, things like that, things that are really going to bring this ship to life. So you're going to have your work cut out for you right here. Even though I said we can see the light at the end of the tunnel, and we can, we are a long way from done. So here's something fun. Let's try putting the mast on the tower, or whatever we're calling this thing. So let's put the mast on here and see how that looks. This is going to be fun, and it should look great. There are certain moments in every build that just really put a smile on your face, and this is one of them. I mean, this is one of the most important structures on this ship, and putting it on here, it just really has my heart sailing right now. I'm feeling so cool about this. I can't tell you what a great feeling this is. And it's on a model that has a lot of meaning for me, and I love it. And so I'm just ecstatic right now. I can't tell you. So, more railings, more ladders, more photo etch, more details. It's just, it really is a lot, man. You have to gird up your loins when you go into this kit, especially if you're going to do all the photo etch. Now, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. The only real thing you need to do with this kit to make it amazing is the wood deck. You don't have to do any of this photo etch business, okay? You really don't. Now, you'd probably still need to deal with a lot of the photo etch that comes in the kit, but you don't need to go to these crazy lengths. And, you know, it's just up to you on what you're comfortable with and what makes you happy. So now we can go ahead and put the smokestack in, and honestly, that's a place where I really got to cut my teeth on some of this photo etch stuff and, you know, kind of calm my skills down so that I could get through the rest of this build. And I've taken it, it's got its paint job on it. I've blackened the inside and around the top of it with some flat black paint. And I think it looks really awesome, very detailed, and I'm very happy about it. And going in, it's just starting to build and build and build and build. I'm really loving this. Okay, so now we can go ahead and put the rear mast on. And with the tower and the two masts on and the smokestack in place, this is really starting to get that very distinctive profile that the Arizona had. So it's feeling very much like the Arizona at this point. So you remember when I said I made a big mistake with the lifeboats and I put them on too early and I didn't do the lashing that I had planned to do and all of that stuff? Well, here I am. I'm starting to make that mistake. And let me reiterate. Build the boats. Stack the boats. Build the stands. Glue the boats to the stands. Do the little lashing and all the details and everything. Set them aside. And then when you're feeling like you're getting boxed out, then install the boats. But make sure they're complete units before you move forward, okay? It's going to make life so much easier for you. And, you know, trust me, do like I say, not like I do, okay? And you'll thank me for that. So we have done a lot on the ship so far. I'm going to go ahead and put the main guns onto the ship and a couple other little parts. And then while we're gone, I'm going to do a little bit of touch-ups and details, straighten out some ladders and some railings, you know, things like that. But I think we're going to pretty much call this a day here. And when we come back in part 6, we will finish up the ship, all right? Get everything done. We'll do the airplanes, and we'll put in the cranes and the catapults and all of that stuff. We'll get the ship done, and then it looks like we'll be able to wrap this all up in part 7, which will be just a final end-to-end look at the battleship along with some last thoughts. So I'm going to keep working, but I'm going to let you guys get out of here until next time when we come back and we start to wrap this thing up. Well, there you have it. The Arizona battleship is looking amazing. Okay, I am just crazy nutso happy with this thing right now. I hope you're loving it too. Now, my plan is this. In the next video, my plan is to finish the model, and in the final video, we'll take a end-to-end detailed look at the finished product. Now, things change, okay? Who knows? I might drop the battleship tomorrow and have to backtrack or something like that, but that's the plan, okay? So that'll put us right at 7 videos, okay? Can't promise that it won't change. So just so you have an idea of where we're at. All right, like I said, I do hope that you're loving everything I'm doing here. If you are, please give this video a thumbs up, click subscribe, and don't forget to click the notification bell so you don't miss the rest of the Arizona battleship build. If you have any questions or comments, as always, leave them below. I love to hear from you guys. Okay, that's going to do it for today. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Until next time, this is Paul from Fat Guy Productions saying, be good.